How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today we've got the pleasure of interviewing Kelly Thompson, but I won't be alone because my buddy Dom of X is joining me. What's up, man?
Happy to be here with you guys and happy to have Kelly Thompson back on the...
Yeah, Kelly, how are you? How have you been? How's life?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's been, it's a wild time to be building a career that people really don't need.
People don't need writers.
We need creatives, Kelly.
Listen. I think in times like this, art becomes more important than it's ever been. So I'm not trying to denigrate it. It's my favorite stuff. I think anyone who's reading Wonder Woman and can understand any sort of subtext understands like how sort of, what's the word? I don't know. I heard someone say the book wasn't political, and I was like, I don't know what book you think you're reading, but it's incredibly political. I think like art is really important in times like this, but I also can't deny that I don't know who can afford a comic book when things are dire. So it's scary. I think we're an industry that's like a bubble industry, and I think some of the coolest shit ever is happening right now, but it's scary to be out here and be a creative. You don't have a lot of safety net, and even if we all keep going, like I think people get more conservative. I don't mean that politically. I mean they're less willing to take risks maybe on projects and things. So I worry just like anybody. It's scary out there right now. I will say that all the publishers I'm working with and all the work I'm doing, everyone seems really positive and confident. I mean, it helps to get to be a part of a huge initiative that is working so well at DC right now. That gives you a lot of confidence that people who know what they're doing are seeing like positive, financially great things happening, and that's encouraging. So it's great. I just think it's scary for everyone right now a little bit. It's like even if you're not scared, there just feels like there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, I got an email yesterday about something I'd ordered, and like, we don't know what the tariff's going to be. We'll let you know before you get charged, but we have no idea. And like that's a scary way for people to have to live, like not being able to just rely on things. I think a very American sensibility is that for most of us, it's a big asterisk there, the country just functions pretty well, and you don't have to think about it all the time, and that's like a really nice thing to not have to worry about those things. And so I think people just get stressed out when it feels more uncertain about those things. But I mean, it's a weird place to be in, because my career is sort of taking off more than it ever has before. I mean, between what's happening with Absolute Wonder Woman and the Jeff stuff, I mean, we got, just off the strength of the popularity of that guy, we're having a miniseries now. So it's great. It's an incredible thing. It's just a weird position to be in, as things feel scary, to be like, no, my career's really going great. It's going to be fine. I don't mean to start in a dark place, I guess. Too late. First 4 minutes of the podcast make you want to kill yourself, everyone. Just skip to the 5-minute mark.
I think, you've brought up a lot of good points that every publisher has brought up. There definitely is a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the future of prices and what's going to be available and projects. Maybe something will get canceled. I do think that comics are in a way an escape, right, for a lot of people.
Sure.
Yeah. When it comes to, you've got reality and then you've got comic books, and that's where your escape goes. I will. So I interviewed the editor that's working on the big Transformers project, and right before we were gonna do this, we did it on Tuesday. Transformers went live on Tuesday, the Kickstarter, and I have been talking to them. And they were like, we don't know how this is going to go. Like there's this whole tariff thing. We don't know how people are going to be spending their money. And it almost felt like they wanted to reschedule, and I'm like, I think it's gonna be okay. This is Transformers, and people, yes, people are always gonna be like, oh man, this is gonna buy me. I mean, I'm gonna be bought out of this type of collection. I'm not gonna be able to afford it. But then there's this mentality that just kind of kicks in, like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna because by the time I interviewed him, it was like at $1.5 million. And I was like, holy crap.
Why were you guys worried? For sure. The Kickstarter thing is like a whole thing unto itself that I ran a couple Kickstarters when Kickstarter was really early for novels, not comics, although I was using comic book artists as my illustrators and cover designers and stuff. So there was some good crossover there. But when I see the stuff that like really popular comic stuff is doing in Kickstarter, it sort of blows my mind, and it's kind of shocking to me. But I do think that you're right that in a way, people just want more because they do want the distraction. I guess that's why it's complicated for me, because I'm a part of the bread and circuses that keeps the population, under control. And I'm happy to be part of that in a way, because I think art and media, they're the biggest parts of my life. I think they've moved me more than most things in the world. I think they can affect real change, but they're also the thing that's here to keep us all numb and not paying attention to things that are really happening and that are really important. So I think it's a complicated line where just personally, I even have multiple feelings about it. Like, yes, I want my career to keep going, and I hope it continues to flourish. And more importantly, I hope I'm really motivating people and making them feel something and maybe activating them to something real in their lives. But am I part of the problem also? Like, I don't know, it's a heady question. Light listening. Come on in, everybody.
Yeah. We're not done yet with depression.
I can go ahead, Omar.
I was just gonna really quick. I used to work in the whiskey industry. I was in the bourbon and whiskey. I used to be for 4 years while I was going to college, worked at a distillery. And I will never forget, like, no matter what, the sales of alcohol are insane because it's like the economy is crap. People are losing their job, and alcohol sales go up because they want to forget, right? They when the economy is up, it's the same thing.
It's a party time. Yeah. Listen, alcohol's a universal.
It kind of reminds me of kind of where we are with comics.
The weird thing is, I think comics is, let's just keep it to absolute. I think it's meeting the moment in like a really powerful way. I think Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I'll just leave it to those because they're a little more, they've been going on for a little bit longer, but I think the new ones are incredible too. I think they're all very political and they're all very intense. And I think that's deliberate. I don't think it's a specific reaction to any specific politics thing. It's just a reaction to the things that are bubbling up in the world and the things we're all feeling. And I think it's got its finger on the pulse, the whole line, in like a really incredible way. And I think it's part of the reason that it's really taking off. And that's powerful and that feels good. But, I'm a complicated person. I have layers just like all of us, right? It's like, you want to make sure you're being a drive for good, and how much of that good is selfishly benefiting you and how much of that is okay because I have to survive in order to do these things. So it's I think it's the kind of stuff we all just wrestle with internally, like every day as we live our lives, like maybe just unconsciously. I would say that I don't have any insider news for anyone. All these kinds of things are way above my pay grade. I'm trying to figure out what kind of snappy dialogue works in an issue. That's more my pay grade area. But I do think that so far things have gone really well, like not even paper shortage. So whatever the backroom deals and agreements people have with corporations and suppliers and all that stuff, it all seems to be going really well, where I haven't really felt it yet. And maybe we're never going to feel it. And that would be great, because I do think these are really powerful stories that have a lot to say. Specifically the absolute stuff, about the kind of things that are going on in the world. I think it's powerful stuff.
There's a couple comments I want to highlight for like when we talk about the importance of these distractions. So this is from Christian. I've been battling stage 3 cancer the last 2 years, and comics have helped me a lot.
Oh man, that's so great. I mean, I'm very sorry you're battling, but I'm glad if anything we've done has helped.
And then this is from our buddy Lenny Laserdisc. Thank you so much for Absolute Wonder Woman. My mom had a major surgery recently, and that book took my mind off of things while sitting in the waiting room. Amazing work.
It's awesome. I mean that. I try not to cry. It means a lot.
No one can see you.
It's a big deal. I mean, thank God I'm not on the cast. You know what it would look like. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you guys listening to me. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here. But I think there's value in recognizing that things are complicated, and that's okay, right? Everyone's dealing with different stuff, and then we also have this universal that we sort of go through together. And I think the shape it can take for everyone is different, but also, gosh, we have so much in common. You know, there's so much overlap between what we're going through, and I do think that seeing those commonalities is really helpful to us. So it's worth talking about. Although I'm sorry if it went a little dark right away. It was not my intention, I swear. I blame Omar, really. It was probably the question. Omar
asked. I remember the last time you were on here, you went deep into like the psychological aspect of what a writer is and what you should be. And I'm like, oh man, am I making her second guess herself as a writer? Never gonna want to come back. And it was a lot cuter then because it was your avatar was Jeff.
It's a subliminal messaging in the art.
It's a woman who wants to bring a reckoning.
I say bring it. So, okay, speaking of Jeff, this freaking character has been the talk of my my brother and a bunch of his friends that all play Marvel Rivals. And I had, I wish I had the time to play video games. I didn't even know. I thought Marvel Rivals was a card game. And I'm so behind. I know, Dom. I know. I'm so behind on times, right? And I was like, because we do TikToks, and on TikTok, one of our videos blew up that was like, can you talk about magic, Ileana? I was like, that's such a random question. Okay, sure. And I'm like, why do I have so many views on this video? And then my brother's the one that brought up, oh, this is because she's a character in Marvel Rivals, man. And I was like, okay, who else is a character?
Yeah.
And then he went and told me, and then I actually got to play it. And yeah, like 2 of his friends, that's their main characters.
Listen, let me tell you something that happened to me last week. Was it Friday? Thursday, maybe. Mm-hmm. Really late, my brother calls me. And I was like, what is this, a butt dial? What's going on? So I'm like, what's up? And he's like, hey, I've got some friends here, and they don't believe me that you created Jeff the Lantern. And so I get on the phone with these, by the way, very drunk, but very charming friends who were like, no way. Like, they were losing it. And let me tell you that while that was hilarious and funny, I've been writing comics for 10 years, and that's the first time that's ever happened. I mean, plenty of times someone who is close to me will find out that, wait, Kelly Thompson's your sister? Or like, there are some little funny things that happen like that, which are always like really fun, by the way. My brother ran, maybe I think it's still going, an Ice and Fire podcast that's not about the show, that's about the books, the George R.R. Martin books. And someone was a super fan of that podcast, and then they figured out that he was my brother. And they were like, wait, you guys are related? Like, it blew their minds. It was really fun. Anyway,
That's
so
crazy.
the power of Jeff and what Marvel Rivals have done in highlighting him is not to be denied. I'd love to do an Emma Frost solo, but it's not on the cards.
Yeah, you
for a
saw
while.
that
So I
comment.
saw it. I
Do
saw
it. Do it.
My eyes go directly to Emma Frost if I see the words. I would love to do an Emma Frost book one day.
But
Carmen Carnero draws a mean Emma Frost.
Yeah,
really,
2 different books too.
She really does.
Just saying.
Maybe someday.
At what point did you find out that Jeff was going to be in a video game?
I think I can't remember exactly how it happened, but the most notable thing I can say about it is that Jordan White at Marvel, the writer or the editor, who I've worked with before, not a lot, but a little bit, he sent me an email and he was like, I've just seen the gameplay for Jeff in the Marvel Rivals game and it's going to be a thing. He goes, it's really cool. It's really fun. I was like, oh, that's great. So like, I think when he emailed, I knew that I had seen that he was coming to the game and I had seen something about that. But then when he said he'd seen the gameplay and that it was like really incredible, I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be something. And then boy, was it. I mean,
yeah.
He trended my entire month of December. Anytime I would look at social media, he was trending. It was insane. Just wild. Anyway.
Like people on Instagram, like the people on Instagram that like I follow, whether it's like Reels or whatever, like often occasionally it would be people posting super cute Jeff panels of like, hey, this is the monster that eats you guys every single video game. I'm just like, it's crazy.
I think that there was a funny thing that happened that I don't even think it's the kind of thing you can plan for. It's just like it has to sort of happen organically or not at all, right? Which is that Jeff is his way that he is in the game, and everyone was mad about it because they were getting their clocks cleaned until some of them got good. And still some of them, I mean, I think that's not really, I don't see anyone complaining about that issue really anymore. So it sounds like people figured it out or his powers got lowered or whatever it is, right? So people don't seem as hung up on him being a monster anymore. But what happened was when they started looking for him, for this monster, all they found were the cutest fucking drawings you could ever see about him being like sort of a monster, but mostly a sweetheart, like mostly just someone who wants to be friends and, you know, eat all the food he's ever seen. So I think that they ended up with this weird dichotomy where he went viral and all the stuff that was available to go viral for him was incredibly cute and charming. And so it inadvertently like pushed back against people who were mad about him and like showed this other side. And I don't know, man, it just worked. It was like a perfect storm of, you know, I also think that what Marvel Rivals did with the character, even though it's a departure from the Jeff we know in the comics a little bit, it's pretty close. Like it's got the same vibe and it's got the same tone, and like, you know, he's just a cute little guy, but you know, he's also a fucking shark, so maybe be careful, right? Like, and it just like came through. It's sometimes the simplest concept, right? It's just the thing that can break through. And
I think, yeah, the coolest part about like his character overall, I think for me when I'm playing him anyways, like he's super easy to use. It's not like too overtly complicated like a lot of the other strategists in the game are, where like you're playing with Loki and it's like I got to place this guy here and there, but it's like, you know, it's like 2 or 3 quick buttons and he eats everybody with your ultimate. I'm like, that's the cool part of it.
Have you played it, Kelly?
No, I've watched. I can't do the video like you. I can't do the video games. I can
do the video games.
No, I mean, I don't have time.
I don't have time either. I don't have time.
I can't get involved. But I did watch both just for fun and because it was everywhere. But also for research a little bit because we're doing this slightly inspired Marvel. I mean, it's very Marvel forward, not Marvel Rivals forward, but it's still, you know, you still want to know everything that he can do and who he teams up with and all that stuff. So I've watched so many like playthroughs and cutscenes and stuff, like really fun stuff.
Oh, that's so cute. You get to see your character, your baby, come to life.
It's adorable. It's adorable. I also want to tell this person in the comments, Jeff is worthy of an Eisner. He's been nominated twice and won once. Keep up, guys. We already got that Eisner for that shark.
Have you, Kelly, by any chance, there's a reel out there of somebody swallowing, because like in Marvel Rivals, there's 6 guys on your regular team that you play with, and then 6 on the other. Someone managed to eat every single of the other 11 players in one like ultimate setting, and then they went off the map. I don't know if you've seen it.
Like ultimate suicide,
Suicide
murder pack.
Yep. Didn't even spit out. Yeah, didn't even bother spitting out the teammates. It's like, we're all gonna go down with the ship because this never happens.
I mean, it's definitely one way to go. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should, guys. Maybe that's a thing we should hold on to.
I wanted to click on Edwin's comment. He said his mom has been in the cardiac ICU for the last 2 weeks. Comics always give me that moment of escapism that gives my mind some time to find some peace.
Honestly, I really appreciate hearing that, guys. It really means a lot for you guys to say that stuff, because it does give me a lot of clarity. Because I do wrestle with these things a little bit. Like, you want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, So to know that it genuinely helps people. I mean, listen, I get a lot of really lovely feedback on social media, mostly Blue Sky. I'm pretty much only on there now. But it's people are really great about it. But, hearing something really personal like that, it means a lot. Thank you.
And this is pretty personal. After his appearance in West Coast Avengers, I ended up getting a tattoo of Jeff. Have you seen anybody with a tattoo? I know you don't do conventions, but
yeah, because I'm so reclusive, it's hard for me to actually see tattoos, but I have seen them on social media, Instagram and Blue Sky a lot. Pretty incredible. I mean, it's crazy when someone tattoos something you created on their body. I mean, I've thought of tattooing one, but I don't know. Is that weird? Like, if I created him, maybe he shouldn't be on my body. I don't know.
No, absolutely. It's your baby. You can put him whatever you want to. I think that's cute.
I haven't had a tattoo in a while. Maybe he'll be my next one.
But you have to get Gurihiro to do the art.
And maybe I would get Gurihiro to do an original, like something that wasn't already out there. Maybe that's what I would put on.
Like Jeff the Land Shark wearing a Kelly Thompson outfit. You know how he wears like all these. I don't
want to do that to you. Poor guy.
Oh man, dude, this book made me laugh. I did an overview of it earlier. I filmed it this past weekend and it went up today, and it legit made me laugh. Like, when I look at books like this, and I'm sure when a lot of people look at books like this, it's like, oh, it's for kids, and it is. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is adorable, and like kids totally need to read this. Like, I think of Gone, books like or Cheese Sweet Home, books that got my kids into reading at an early age, and teaching them how to like follow the panels without any kind of dialogue. I think this is perfect for that.
It is.
Yeah.
But that Venom story that you wrote in the back, that was so dumb. I loved it. Oh man, this was so good.
Wait, which one is it from the one? That's from the one shot, or
the Venom War tie-in.
The Venom War tie-in.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was his longest issue ever. That one shot.
Yeah.
And I thought, and it worked pretty well, that we would keep like the first half silent and just let it be what the Jeff strip is really, where you're really relying on that. And, with Gurihiro, you always know they can handle that. They can handle the slightest nuance in that acting and that storytelling. And so it really gives you a lot of freedom to even do a complicated plot that doesn't have words. But then halfway through, we bring in my beloved West Coast Avengers, who I miss so much, or at least most of them. And that way we can get some dialogue and we get this interaction and we get you get more of a normal comic. And I would say that that's a little bit the approach we're taking with the new series that starts in June. And I hope part of that will be like a good bridge for because kids who started out on It's Jeff, which is all silent, maybe they're ready to read some big words now. It's been a few years, right? So I hope that it'll be like a really good stepping stone that's a bridge between that. So you'll get silent parts, like, again, the opening of the first Jeff book, but, you know, then he gets, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. He gets to tangle a little bit with the Doctor Strange snakes in the first issue, who I love, Anton and Alistair. I don't know if you guys have seen them. I have never written a Doctor Strange book, and yet somehow I've written them about 3 or 4 times now because I love them. They're like, they sort of remind me of the what are the name of the Muppets who like sit in the sidelines and bitch about things?
The
critics.
old guys?
Yeah, the critics. The snakes sort of remind me of that. They got a lot of I can't remember their names. Someone in the chat will know.
I'm sure someone in the chat will know.
Where are you, nerds?
They're
anyway,
everywhere.
So those snakes, there we go. Statler and Waldorf. Yep, that's it.
Dang, James.
Of course, James. Oh, crisis, you came so close, buddy. You came so close, Peter. But James got you beat. James has like 18 monitors at all times. True. Oh, this is an interesting question. Did the idea of Jeff the Land Shark come from the SNL? I remember that SNL skit. No. I don't know if you watched it.
I mean, I do remember that very old skit, but no, that wasn't in my head. I did see people saying that after like that knock land shark. That's the bit though, right? I don't think it's more than that. It's just a random, like, very, what's the word? Absurdist, maybe is the word, kind of comedy of like this land shark is just at your door and then bites your head. But, you know, it is spiritually not that far off from Jeff, this idea of like, it's just a normal thing. And they're like, oh no, it's a shark. No, the idea from Jeff mostly came from, I'll keep it short because I've told this before, but I find sharks very scary, like most people. And so the idea of them running around on land is really scary. I mean, it's less scary in a way because as a human being, if you're in the water, you're not in your natural environment. And so you're more vulnerable, but still, I don't want them running through the streets. And so it just seemed like a big, fun kind of a thing that MODOK would do and that would work in West Coast Avengers. And then Stefano's art was so good, but he had this really concerned looking shark in the background who just did not seem like he wanted to be a part of what was going on. And I was like, I mean, I guess if you have been constructed by MODOK to do his bidding, like maybe you're not happy about it. And that was how I got on the track of like, maybe there should be one of these land sharks that doesn't really want to be a part of it. So it was really inspired by Stefano's stuff. And then, I'm sorry, that's Stefano Caselli. And then my cats, I think when I first created him, my cats were 2 years old, maybe, something like that. And so, you know, they're the cutest, most amazing things ever. So that's why I think of them as more shark cat more than shark dog, just because I'm more influenced by the cats. But I think most people probably see a dog. It's a more substantial kind of a idea,
like a bulldog next to your side.
Yeah, I also think of Jeff as being like very independent, like a cat. You know, he's like he likes his people and he's always around them, but he also wants to do his own thing, and you shouldn't tell him what to do. And like the agency of that is interesting.
How did you pitch him? What did you say?
I didn't. I just put him in. I didn't pitch it to anybody. I just put it in the script. I was like, oh, we gave Gwen a kitten. That's boring. We'll just say that she had to give the kitten back. Let's give her one of these land sharks. And I just wrote it in and nobody stopped me. I think, you know, listen, editors don't want to get in your way. If they can feel you're really enjoying something and it works tonally for what you're doing. And that was the perfect book for him to show up. I think that's why it's a little funny when people are like, oh, Absolute Wonder Woman should hang out with Jeff, or even just someone in, you know, his tone doesn't always go with what you're doing. Like, you know, he didn't belong in my Black Widow book where it just tonally would have been weird. I mean, we did put cameos to his existence in like, the kid is wearing shark pajamas and there's a stuffy in his room or whatever. But like, you know, Jeff works with Elsa Bloodstone and Deadpool because their tone is very like wacky and extreme and cartoonish. And so it's a fit, you know, and you can fit him into other things in small ways, but you know, he doesn't fit in every property. I mean, and I think putting him in or forcing him into any property can just sort of, can sort of ruin it a little bit, right? Like if you don't strike that tone right, suddenly you're like, wait, this absurdist idea within this other thing, it's not playing together. But I do love to mix up genres and stuff. I mean, that was one of the fights I had when I was on Jessica Jones with my editor Alana, was I wanted to put Elsa Bloodstone in that book. And she was like, but Elsa Bloodstone is like a very different character. They operate in different worlds. I was like, yeah, don't you want to smash them together and see what happens? Like, let's do it. And she was like, I don't know. She was wrong. I was right. I love you, Alana. I love you.
This is very meta. Chevy Chase, been being asked where you get your ideas from.
I mean, that is an A-level troll. I appreciate that.
Wow, we changed our avatar and everything.
That is great.
I know the last time you were on here, I praised you on your Black Widow, and to this day, it remains my favorite Black Widow comic. I love, you knocked Mark Waid and Chris Samney off. Like, they were number one. I was like, there's no way anything's better than this. And then I read that and the artwork, and I'm like, how is this not in an oversized
Elena
form?
Casagrande, man.
Oh,
she's phenomenal.
So good.
Phenomenal.
So good.
Just spread pages and just that story. Oh, it was so good.
I would love to see that one in an omnibus. I don't know if it's got enough issues to be an omnibus.
I've seen, Omar, we've seen 8, 9 issue omnis now, and it doesn't. It never gets past me.
Peter's in the chat. Where did we put that in the? We did the most wanted Marvel omnis that people are voting for yesterday, and I know we put that story with something else. Maybe it was. Did we do a Marvel Universe by Kelly Thompson? You've got enough stuff because we definitely need the Gambit and Rogue series.
Oh man,
that stuff is so out of print right now.
I am dying for them to reprint that stuff. Like, it's not as bad now, but last spring and summer when the show was on, I was getting emails and pings on my social media like every day from people going, "Why can't I find these books? Why are they not in print?"
Yeah.
And I do think they were like on the list. You know how long it takes. It takes a long time, but I do think they're in the mix for maybe collections to be coming out. And so sometimes that's why the trades start disappearing, is because they're not reprinting them because they're planning to bind them into something. But I don't know. It was very frustrating last summer that people couldn't find these books. I was like, man, I've got 2 copies. They're my personal copies on my shelf. That's it. And I hadn't had them for years.
They have been out of print for a long time, and I know they go for a lot of money because people have been asking me to. We're waiting for the Black Widow Modern Years omnibus to get that far, or a Marvel Universe by Kelly Thompson, which she pitched on her last interview. Peter knows.
I do think, I don't know what the cutoff is for size wise. Listen, I sort of like a smaller omnibus in some ways just because they're so unwieldy to actually read.
How dare you?
I know. Listen, I'm weak, man. I don't have the arm strength for that anymore.
Your avatar says otherwise.
Well, that's why it's an avatar. But I would love to see it in that larger size. Those pages that Elena did. I think, man, they would just sing in that slightly larger size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am with you. Okay, so really quick, Dom has put together a giveaway. So there's our wonderful sponsors are donating what started as just one book. Every one of them love your work so much that they were like, how about we do 2 books or 3 books? And it kind of became a 3-book thing. And
that's awesome.
I'm seriously, like, the guy that owns BD Cosmos, who's up in Canada, was talking about how you're the reason why he became a huge fan of Captain Marvel. He loves all your work, and he donated other books outside of It's Jeff. So that shows how much you have moved a lot of these books. And Walt from Walt's Comic Shop in the EU said that one of his favorite books that comes out every month is Absolute Wonder Woman. And then Julian said it's his bestseller out of the Absolute titles.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that, yeah, Absolute Wonder Woman has been, I don't even really have words. Like, it almost feels like you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to jinx it. It just feels like magic.
My girlfriend got into reading comics because of Jeff the Shark after I showed her my Jeff skin in Rivals. See?
That's the other great thing is we've accidentally made it very easy for Marvel Rivals to put him in whatever costume they want because he loves to try on outfits. People maybe don't know that, but we've had him try on a lot of outfits. In the one shot you see in his closet, he's just got like a full closet of outfits. I don't know why he likes this. I think transformation. I don't know.
I like the outfits. Dom, where do you want to start? How do you want to start the giveaway?
So yeah, we're gonna be giving away in 3 separate parts of the world. We got 3 copies of Jeff the Land, or It's Jeff trade paperback here in the United States. For people in Canada, it's 1 copy of Jeff the Land. Or sorry, I keep saying Jeff the Land Shark because of the internet. But anyways,
first
one It's Jeff for the people in Canada, for the people over at BD Cosmos. We've got 1 copy of the Cull trade paperback from Image, one of my favorite T-books ever. And we've also, why won't this stupid thing load? We've also got a copy of Birds of Prey Volume 1 Megadeth, one of my favorite and most fun ongoings coming out right now from comics. So 1 of each of those in Canada, and then in the EU, we're going to be giving away 3 It's Jeff trade paperbacks. So if I may, if you are in the US, type in, let me see if I can go to the comments. Type in hashtag Jeff.
Oh,
USA.
Julian, I just told her the story about how you were talking about how much you love her. This is the owner of BD Cosmos.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's so nice. It's so cool you guys are doing this big giveaway. It's very awesome.
Oh yeah, we love spreading the good word of good comics, if you will, especially during these trying times, as you so darkly started this interview.
Yeah, turned it around.
We got the good Jeff vibes going. If you live in Canada, it's all 1 word. Type in hashtag Jeff CAD for any of you guys who are in Canada. So that's hashtag Jeff CAD to enter the BD Cosmos giveaway.
Jeff plus your local currency.
I forgot. I was about to type it in as in to give an example, and I'm like, oh wait, that would enter me into the giveaway. I can't do that, so never mind.
And then hashtag Jeff EU if you are in the European Union, or live in a country in the European Union. I thought about Euro to keep it, monetarily balanced, but I was like, whatever.
Okay, so Jeff USA,
Jeff USA,
Jeff CAD, and Jeff. What's the other one? Jeff
EU. Okay. I thought about Euro, but it is what it is.
There you go. There you go. Those 3. Remember where you are, though, please. If you are in
check your country before you.
Please don't enter Jeff Canada if you are in the US. Please, that would not be good. I mean, unless you're willing to pay for shipping, absolutely. That's up to you.
Yes, Chris is right. Please smash the like button, and if you have friends who live in any of these country/E's, tell them to enter, because yes, these are awesome books. And we want to be able to spread them to as many people as possible. So let your friends and people know.
Well, thanks for doing that, guys. Very cool.
Oh, no, thank you for writing great stories.
Thank you. That's nice. I didn't interact with this comment because it was like a vanity search for a title. So, that's pretty, that's not very kosher, but what's kosher about it is going on another podcast and talking about it. Mm-hmm. I saw someone say something so nice about how I just effortlessly rolled Zealot into that Birds of Prey book. And thank you. Thank you, guy out there. I appreciate it. It's Ben Abernathy was my editor when I pitched that first Birds of Prey, and like he was just so open about letting us do whatever I wanted to do. And I was like, listen, the roster is going to be weird, man. And he's like, can you justify it? I was like, yes. And he was like, then he's like, then as long as they're available, let's do it. And so, yeah, I'm like, Zealot? He's like, well, okay. Oh, okay. So you weren't lying. I was like, no, I was not lying. Zealot's on the team. So it was fun.
There's a moment with Harley Quinn. It's an issue 4 that legitimately made me laugh out loud. I think she was talking Big Barda, and I was just like, "Why can't she could have been on there longer, Kelly?"
Yeah, yeah. It was. Here's the thing. I have a very I don't know if my take on Harley, which everyone saw, so I don't have to say what it is. If you read the book, you saw what the take is. I don't know that it's totally aligned with, I think there are a lot of different ways to approach her, and some are more chaotic and evil, and some are more reasonable. I think mine is probably a little more reasonable, but she's still just like this incredible force of a character, and you have to be very careful to not have her sort of overwhelm the book. I really needed her in that first arc because we needed some like levity, and we still didn't know how Barda and Cass were totally gonna gel. We didn't know that was going to be as magical as it turned out to be. So like, I really needed her there, and I know people were of very strong opinions in both directions of whether she should have been there, but I honestly thought she worked seamlessly in there, and thank you. I think that I'd love to use her again. I mean, she does show up in this new arc just like a little bit, but I'd love to put her in the book again. But, she's a little too powerful, honestly. Like, I hope fans take that as the compliment it is. She can drag any book into whatever direction she wants, and that's power, and you got to have control of that. And in a big ensemble team, it can be hard to wrangle that. So I loved having her there. I thought she belonged there, but I've had to accept that she doesn't really fit right now. I think Barda sort of doesn't fit right now in a way, but I've wrapped it into the narrative, and I didn't have room to do that for both of them. It just in that Barda is so powerful that she sort of defines some of the conflicts you can get into and not get into, because she's like dropping an atom bomb into something, and it's I can't really, while I can pull that into the narrative in an effective way for a character, it's hard to do it for more than one, so.
I love that you put a lot of thought into this. Like, as far as like, does that character belong now? I don't think about that. Most of the time I just think writers make it work, right? Like, you're gonna make it work. If your editor's like, hey, do it, you do it. And
I mean, listen, you're the boss. You can try to force it, but I guess more what I'm saying is I've learned from my experience is that trying to force it, like all of us want so many of our characters that we love that I definitely like grab too much, and then it overwhelms the narrative, and you don't get to do the things you were trying to do and the things you wanted to do, and all the cool shit you wanted to highlight ends up getting like overwhelmed by, there's like 10 characters on this page. What am I doing? So it's, I think sometimes your eyes are too big, right? For the reality. I think these are things that experience helps you with, right? Like, the more you do it, the more you learn like where your limitations are. And with Harley, I was like, she's going to work for this first arc, but if I bring her along, I think she's going to get out of hand, and I'm not going to be able to control her. But I'm also very much a writer that I'm one of those writers who's like, the characters tell me what to do. Like, if I build a character correctly, or in the experience of comics, if I have done my enough research so that I feel like I know what the voice is, the characters dictate a lot, honestly. Like, you'd be surprised how much. Like, sometimes I want a story or a plot to go a certain way, and it doesn't work because the characters are like, no, I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, I feel the same. I sort of feel the same way when I'm reading. I'm through the 48th chapter of the It's Jeff Infinity comic right now.
Oh yeah.
And I always feel like when to use specific characters in one instance. It's like, hey, like we're gonna go to Stark Tower and Jeff's gonna do some doohickeys with Iron Man's armor. Or when to say like, it's just going to be Jeff here, or maybe he's hanging out with Gwenpool, or it's like going to be a cute little thing. Like, I feel like when to balance it out with, we're going to have a guest star just do like this fun little doohickey adventure, or it's just him like getting money, or like, hey, I'm broke, I need to go find something to eat. So
yeah, I think that another thing I tried to do, if we're talking Jeff, like, it was important to me that people not. I wanted people to stop calling him Gwenpool's pet. You know, not because I have anything wrong with Gwenpool. I love Gwenpool, and she should be a part of his adventures. But I want him to be his own character. He's not somebody's pet. He has more agency than a pet, as we'll definitely see in the Jeff miniseries coming up. Like you'll really feel his agency there because, you know, he's teaming up with a lot of different characters and like moving through the world, and to do that, it requires a lot of agency and intelligence, whether he can communicate it. I mean, an improvement, honestly, of what we've got going on. I don't even mean that specific to anyone. I just mean in general, the general state of politics. That's not a bad idea.
I got to show you this. My brother just texted me while we're doing this interview. He had no idea I was interviewing you. I should have told him. But he was like, "Oh my God, look what just came in the mail." So he paints these little models. So I don't know if you can see that.
Oh my God!
So they're like, well, no, this is the model that he'll be painting. So like it comes in, I think it's like brown or something, but yeah.
Like a 3D printed thing.
Yeah. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, what a coincidence.
Marvel is missing the boat on this merch, man.
Well,
I mean, I know they're gearing it up, and I understand
what's funny
it takes
is
time, but
I talked to David Gabriel in December, and we were talking about Marvel Rivals, like, because I was like, I don't play, but I told him my brother loves it, and for some reason my videos with like all these characters are blowing up. But I told him about, like, you guys really need to do things like make a collection like Magic, and he's like, I just rushed out at It's Jeff First collection. That's the one that I'm holding in my hand now. He was like, because I know that character is big. So it's funny how they don't find out about things too until much later. Like, who knew?
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird how it works. It's also like, it's crazy. It's I've never been on this side of it really before, where something's just taking off and it sort of has its own sort of momentum. It creates its own sort of atmosphere almost. It's pretty wild. I mean, I think Absolute Wonder Woman is poised to do that in her own way and is doing that in her own way. But, Absolute Wonder Woman is obviously, I didn't create Wonder Woman, so it just has it's like a different ball. They're both these spinning weird balls that are like gathering all this intensity, and it's really cool to watch. But I feel like a part of it, but also outside of it, it's a strange experience. It's probably a little bit trickier for me because I am notoriously, and perhaps it's because I think too much about these things, Omar. But I get very attached, and it's hard for me to detach from all this, right? So when people are like, "Oh, do you care when other people write your characters?" I want to be the creator who goes, "No, of course it's out there," and I go, "I totally care. I totally care. I can't pretend I don't. I'm annoyed when it's not right, But that can go. Oh, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
You could turn into Chris Claremont.
Omar.
He's a good friend of mine. I got his cell phone number. And we talked about this.
I think we're in a danger zone. Let's leave this area immediately.
I love Chris Claremont. I will hear him rant about everybody and how bad they are at writing his characters. But
yeah. I don't want that for my future, man.
You're going to be doing that with Jeff?
Oh, God.
They don't understand the deep psychology that goes into writing Jeff.
I think it's just crazy because, to watch something that you created or co-created with someone, Daniele Di Nicolo, for any of you watching at home, to co-create something like that and like really feel like a happiness with a thing you've made, and then just see it metastasize into something completely different that you're not in control of. It's an incredibly weird feeling, but I don't know. I guess if it was going to happen on anything, I'm glad it happened on Jeff, because despite the way he entered the world for most people, i.e. violently via Marvel Rivals, he's a really positive, wonderful force in the universe, whether that's, because he helps kids learn to read comics because his comics don't have any words, or because he wants to be friends with everyone after he decides he won't eat you. Like, it's, I think that's part of the beauty. I mean, I said before that I didn't want Gwen to be too heavy in those first stories because I wanted him to feel like his own character. And that was part of the reason why you see more Kate in the beginning, because we needed someone recognizable that fans like, that can translate without a lot of effort and that had a connection to him, but that didn't feel as much like his quote owner. And so, but then beyond that, it just became bringing in tons of cameos of other characters and just showing that Jeff is sort of, he can go anywhere. He can be friends with anyone. He can do any adventure. I mean, I did just say before, like, he shouldn't be in certain books. And I think that's true. I mean, I guess you can put Jeff in a Black Widow book and try to fit him in there in a certain way, but I think you're probably better off not trying to, like, break the format. Because he is very flexible. Not as flexible as someone like Deadpool, maybe, who can go anywhere and do anything and be anything, but it's in that area. And so if something I was going to make is going to, leave the confines of the comic book fencing in a big way, like, I guess I'm really glad it's Jeff. He's a good ambassador for me and for things in the world,
Would you do it if they were like, hey, if you don't do it, we're going to find somebody else that will write it into
Well, I mean, I've taken a lot of Jeff jobs that I maybe shouldn't have just because of schedule, because of my schedule being really full.
Uh-huh.
I shouldn't have probably said no to Marvel. Probably should have said no to doing the new Marvel Jeff book, but I want it. I want to write that adventure. I want to do it, and I want to be a part of it, and I want to chart, if not control, Jeff's destiny as long as I'm able. And it's already gone well beyond me, but as long as they're giving me opportunity, I'd still like to do it. I think the only thing I've really said no to them on was, I mean, he's starting to appear in other things that I don't get asked to do, and don't even ask me how I feel about that. I obviously feel a little anxious about it, but for the big things where he's running it, I mean, they've really asked me to do almost everything. I think the only thing I had to say no to was the thing Jason Liu did, which had the Infinity Stones or something. Like, I wasn't able to do that one just because I was too busy. But yeah, I think there's the reality, and I'm not saying there's any bad guy here, but the reality is if I don't do it, they'll get someone else. Like, they own that character, they can do what they want. So yeah, I'm sort of getting right of first refusal a lot, which is nice, but yeah, it grows beyond you, and you have to just accept that. So I'm in the phases of that process.
Would I give you anxiety, Kelly, if I said, like, a hypothetical universe where Jonathan Hickman and the people over at Ultimate make an Ultimate Jeff so they can have their own Jeff to play with?
I mean, listen, he should be everywhere, so I guess.
Well, I was going to say, what's the opposite of a land shark?
A water snake?
Sky snake.
Sky snake.
That's a dragon. This is why I don't write.
I think water, you either need underground or earth or sky, right? And then I don't know what the opposite of a shark is, though.
Yeah.
Like
something that doesn't eat meat? Like a veggie? Why am I thinking about this on the air?
I don't know. It's like maybe like a chicken is the inverse of Jeff or something. I don't know.
Right, chicken, okay.
Eats veggies, flies, isn't good in water. It's some kind of chicken.
Yeah, now those beards work.
I think we've just here developed Jeff's new nemesis, Mega Chicken or something.
Let's go. We got to see that in chapter 60 of the Infinity comic, Kelly.
Can you talk a bit about working with Hayden Sherman and the creative process between the two of you? Like, do you have a certain way of working together?
Man, Hayden's a star. They've broken me a little bit, I think. They're so fast that I feel like I'm moving in slow motion. Like, I feel like they've used some kind of a power gun on me, and I'm moving in slow motion now. They're so fast and they're so good. It wouldn't be so annoyingly great that they're so fast if everything they turned in wasn't so good. I mean, but it's created this incredible thing that's happening on the book, which I think you guys are reading in real time, seeing it happen, which is, it's almost like we're trying to one up each other. Like, I'll send her a script. I'll be like, all right, you try this. And I send it over. And then Hayden's like, oh, really? How about this? And then they shove it back. And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe they did that. And then, you know, and then I try to fix the text to be worthy of it. And then we do it again on another one, you know. They're really, the way their brain works. They've also, like, I've always been a very... not that I'm not into, I'm really into the genre and the innovation in comics. Like, I like seeing, you know, that's why I use DeLuca panels a lot, because I like to see the way different artists handle a DeLuca effect panel, which is, for the uninitiated, it's when you get a bunch of, images in the same panel, basically. So something that would typically be divided up with panels, you go panelless, and it's a more organic flow. You can see those spreads a lot in Black Widow, but I do it in almost every book I do, partly because I like it and partly because I like to see what other artists, how they approach it. Lena Casagrande, I think, does it some of the best of anyone I've seen, and those are those action spreads that we sort of got a name for together when we were doing that book, which also won an Eisner. So I think that I'm very interested in form, and I always have been, but I've never been, with some exceptions, super drawn to like weird paneling. Probably because I came up in a lot of the 90s stuff, which is weird paneling just for weird paneling's sake. Like, how extreme can we make it? And let's break the panel every freaking page. Like, I hated that stuff. And so it brought me to a place where I like more of a regimented thing. Like, I don't want to break the panel unless it really means something. I don't want to do these crazy things unless it really means something. And I think Hayden has completely changed that for me, because Hayden's panel work is so incredibly innovative and beautiful and meaningful, but it can't be sea chicken, because then we're back in the water again. Sorry, the chat's getting me. The chat's getting me. But I guess I would say that nothing's really changed, because everything Hayden does is with purpose. They never break the panel just to break the panel. They break the panel because they're brilliant storytellers, and they really know how to merge that perfect blend of telling the story and prioritizing the story, but framing it in a way that is, I don't know if tonally perfect is the right, but like, it has a feeling. It has a feeling. And when you're reading it, you know what you're reading it, you know why you're reading it, and you're getting that feeling from it. It's like an unconscious thing they do that is very powerful. I think it's not, I'm Team Sea Chicken. How quickly the tables have turned on Jeff. Team Sea Chicken, come on. So I think that, you know, I was pretty nervous about Mattia being on issue 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. I obviously was completely confident in Mattia's gorgeous work. But I don't know. I think what Hayden is doing is so singular that, we deliberately went for someone very different in bringing in Mattia's work, because we were like, well, we don't want someone trying to ape what Hayden's doing. That will just feel like a lesser version of the main book. So let's just go in a completely different direction, which was part of the idea of bringing in Mattia and letting that super realistic, much more regular layouts style, right? And I think the good news is it seems to have worked like gangbusters. Like, people loved those 2 issues the way people rarely love issues where your main artist is gone. But I also saw people saying it made them appreciate Hayden too, like even more, like the innovation Hayden's bringing the book. So we've just been incredibly lucky. I feel like Wonder Woman has been, the experience of doing Absolute Wonder Woman has been like just a series of getting to hit home runs and occasional triples. Like, I just mean the work product. I don't mean how it's received or anything, but like, just a thing would happen and you'd be like, wow, that's the best thing we could possibly hope to happen there. And then you'd be like, well, I hope that continues. And then you'd hit another one. And it was just like everything came together. I've been very lucky in general in comics to have really good collaborative teams, to work with some of the best artists, and not just the best artists, but artists that were really good fit for me, where we could really find a collaborative level that really brought out the best in both of us. But Absolute Wonder Woman, it sort of dwarfed everything. Even at this time when I'm working on, Jeff with Gurihiru and Birds of Prey, I was doing that with Leo for a while, and Javi and David I've worked with before too. Like, Sammy and I are pretty new to each other, but I think we've got a great vibe. But it's hard not to compare things to Absolute Wonder Woman. She's dominant. Like, it's incredible. It's been an incredible experience. I'm gonna owe, I don't know, I'm not really gonna have kids, but I probably owe Scott Snyder a kid or something for letting him bring me on, like my firstborn or something. I'll always be grateful to him because, he could have asked somebody else and he asked me, and it almost broke me because I couldn't figure it out. But once I did, it's been the greatest experience of my life so far in comics.
Oh, that's amazing. I remember how excited you were when I interviewed you. Well, it was off. Oh, wait, it was after the interview. It was off the record. And I kept my mouth shut.
Well, thank you.
So you're welcome.
Maybe I would have gotten fired and we'd be living in a whole new world.
You'd be like, so anybody buying the new It's Jeff comic I'm publishing?
Yeah.
4 coming out this month. So this is interesting. Scott mentioned that he has at least 2 years planned for Absolute Batman. How long does Kelly have planned on Absolute Wonder Woman, or in general? Like, how does this work? Like, do you have endless amount of ideas, but do the editors come in and say, okay, just plan it for like 12 issues, we'll see how it goes, or just plan it for however long you want to?
I mean, I think if I showed up with a 2-year plan tomorrow, my editor would throw a party, because that would be great. We'd have a lot of stuff done and we'd know we were mapping for what we were going to be doing. I think I work probably differently than Scott. I can't plan that far out, in the sense that, like, all right, here's the best way to tell this story. So for anyone who read issue 5, the finale of the first arc, that was not the planned resolution there. Her using that lasso and transforming herself into Medusa, that came about when I was planning to write that issue. That was not in the original design. Neither, by the way, was the giant sword and the cutting a third of the tetracide off in the previous issue. So while we had been very tightly plotted through 3, when she cuts off the arm, my solutions for 4 and 5 were looser. They were there. Like, we could have been. There were solutions there that we could have done, but as the book was changing and growing, and as everything Hayden was bringing to the table, and this one-upmanship I'm talking about, I had known I wanted the sword to grow via magic. I didn't know how big we were going to do it, and I had thought that would be the finale. And then I was like, I think this issue 4, this is the issue that needs that moment. And so I wrote it in there, and I was like, Hayden, be careful when you draw this, because this thing isn't dead. And of course, Hayden drew it so cool that people were like, well, that thing's dead. And that's a little bit underwhelming. And I was like, but so then 5, I had a couple solutions for how it might resolve. And I actually ended up sending 2 of them to Hayden, and then immediately after sending it, regretted it, because I was sure that one of them was the right choice and was worried maybe they'd pick the wrong choice. And of course they didn't. They immediately were like, oh, it's this one. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I agree. Can't stop thinking about it since I sent it to you. I think it'll be great. But so, yeah, that was not in the original plan. And so for me, plotting is I don't know. It's tricky. It's the hardest part of it for me because I come more from a character than a plot standpoint. So I struggle with it the most. I don't like people making me lock it down all the way. And something I also learned this on Black Cloak, but from watching what we were doing and the things people were responding to and what I felt was emerging more powerful, it was nice to have the flexibility to be able to shift to a story that I thought was a little stronger or a little more thematically resonant or would be cooler for Hayden to draw. And so, when Scott says he has 2 years planned for Absolute, maybe he means he really knows what each of those issues are going to be, or maybe he means something more vague like what I do. But what I will say is I have a Bible and a notes document that are massive, and like the things I want to get to would easily cover 2 years. So is it planned? No. Is it all in a document with like a million notes going, oh my God, I hope we can get to this. How will we bring that in? And this, that, and the other. So
I don't know why. I just picture, I don't know if you watch Always Sunny, but it's become a meme of Charlie.
Yes, with the map. Yeah.
They're so Pippi Sylvie. But that's awesome. I like the fact that you have ideas and you're like, it'd be nice to get there, but we don't know if we will or not. That's great. And go bigger with the sword. That's right. Always go bigger.
I mean, I don't know how much bigger we could go, but it's
possible. The sword when it got huge. Oh man, you we like our swords big. Final Fantasy VII, Berserk. It's another big sword.
I think it was Damon. Yeah. I think it was Damon. I don't know if all you podcasters know each other, but Damon asked me on a podcast. He was hinting about, well, the sword is magic, right? Could it get bigger? And I was like, I can't answer this question because I'm going to spoil it. I was like, seems like it could, or something like that. Like, I didn't want to tip my hand too much, but
yeah, Hayden is amazing. I was a fan of Hayden in this book called Wasted Space many years ago.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to interview them at New York Comic Con a couple of years ago. And I remember waiting on Hayden, and this kid sat next to me. And I was like, oh, I'm waiting on Hayden Sherman. And they were like, yeah, I'm Hayden Sherman. And I was like, son of a bitch, that's not fair. How are you so talented?
Yeah, they're very young looking, and honestly, they bring that energy because how else are they? I mean, unless they've got a bunch of clones in their basement that they've chained to drawing tables, which is something I used to think maybe Jeff Lemire had. All these prolific writers and artists. I don't know how they do it, man. I feel so fucking slow in comparison. I feel like I mull over everything to the. It's infuriating. I mean, listen, I got much slower in the pandemic. It's been okay. It's felt because I felt like the work, like what's the difference for me between what's a leveling up or what's just wasting time, right? Like, am I trying to make it better and to reach a new level, or am I just being lazy? You know what I mean? Or slow or distracted or any number of things. So I think that I do think I've leveled up. I think we're seeing it most notably maybe in Absolute Wonder Woman, but hopefully it's happening across the board to my work. It's been a long sort of process. But it's probably hopefully a process that doesn't ever end. Like, I don't know that I'd always want it to feel as frustrating or contentious as it has felt over the last couple years with the pandemic and everything. But yeah, you always want to be learning and growing. Like, if you stop, I think that's the end, isn't it? So
yeah, I like that. That is the end. Well, we just got dark again.
I did see something here I wanted to respond to, but now it's gone.
Look at you, multitasking, keeping an eye on us, and looking at the chat while you're talking.
It's probably why I'm so distracted.
That's why your brain's like the
my brain's all over the place. I lost it wherever it was.
Oh yeah, is there any more Cole, the Cole coming? People are wondering about that. When are we gonna get that in deluxe edition?
I mean, I'd love to do more of the Call, but it just. One of the minorly annoying things that's happened with Mattia doing the Absolute Wonder Woman book is that people are like, oh man, let's get you on a monthly book. You should that. Do you see how good that art is? There's a reason Mattia's on 2 issues and not 10. It takes a really long time to do that. That's not Mattia. I don't want to speak for him, but he's at this level. If you want that kind of work, that guy can't be on a monthly book. He's doing something special and different that requires more time. And because of that, part of the reason we were able to do a second volume of Black Cloak, even though money was tight, is because Meredith is just a very different artist. She moves very fast. She runs Kickstarters. She's just a different artist. Like there's no judgment in either of those things. You have to apply things a little differently for each of them. And for Mattia and I, the call, to do 5 more issues that we were desperate to do, that's at least another 1.5 years of his time. And, so funding that is really hard. So I don't know. We'll see. I think Mattia and I doing Absolute Wonder Woman together has been incredible publicity. I have a lot of companies that would like us to do a book for them as a team. We actually have already started working on something. Should I say this? So
you should totally say it.
I have some concerns about it because of the politics. It leaves Mattia and I quite vulnerable. I think in a great, powerful way. I think it's important stuff that needs to be said, but I don't know. It's risky. We'll see. We have a publisher who really wants it, so maybe we'll do it anyway. But Mattia lives in Italy, and Italy's not that great either on these things right now. So, I don't want to put him in any jeopardy or danger with his government. So I don't know. We'll see. I think right now the current thinking is maybe we work on something else instead. But I'll be honest, it's hard to get the project out of my mind. It's very powerful. The thought I had yesterday was I should just write script 1 and we should see. And then I was like, I don't have time to write a whole script on maybe, so I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible.
If you throw a cute little animal in there, just saying. Ms. Thompson, my wife loves your work on Rogue and Gambit, Ring of Fire.
Yeah, I hope she got it when it was out, because it's out of print now.
Totally is.
Nice. Thank you so much. That was one of my... Ring of Fire was a really transformative book for me in a lot of ways, in part because it gave me a better understanding of fans when I was researching that book, which was mostly rereading stuff I'd already read, but reading the few things I'd missed in the gap since I'd been reading Rogue and Gambit religiously. My first thought was, I can't wait to get rid of all this shit I hate. I came in, I was like,
wait. I'm going to come back to this comment, Sean. What did you want to get rid of? Let's talk.
You haven't read enough Rogue and Gambit, clearly. There's a lot of really bad shit in there.
Yeah, I've read a lot. Can we get rid of that stupid retcon?
Then there are some really...
Yeah, let's get rid of the Trial of Gambit. That's like one of the worst retcons in the history of X-Men. Oh my God, I'm starting to sound like Chris Claremont.
The transformation's here.
I did feel like I wanted to come in with a sledgehammer and be like, now I should get to decide what's real and what's not. And there was a real ego moment of like, who do I think I am? And there was also just from talking to fans, and I was like, sometimes I'd read in forums and things, and, just researching and stories that I thought were the worst fucking story on earth. Someone else, it was their favorite.
Okay.
And I thought, who am I? Who am I to say what's someone's favorite or not? Or who am I to say what's canon and what's not? And it was how we eventually came to the way we approach canon in that book, which was, I think, acknowledging it and just saying, shit's messy, man. move forward or not, but everybody's life is messy. And if you're going to excavate it and try and examine it, you're going to find a lot of stuff you don't like and a lot of stuff you do like. And the question is it worth moving this forward, And so I think that through that, in a meta way, writing Ring of Fire really helped me understand the fan better and made me a better writer, a more considerate writer. I think probably the possible downside is it made me a more conservative writer in some ways. Like, sometimes you don't want to upset apple carts or hurt people's feelings. So there's possibly a bit of edge that was shaved off there in that process, but I think it was worth it. I think the consideration and the thoughtfulness was probably a fair exchange. Like, as the slight edge got filed off, what did go up was like empathy and consideration for other stories and other voices and other readers' preferences. Customers.
I want to have a whole. Can we just? Can I schedule you for a whole stream of just complaining about X-Men stories we don't like? There definitely is that. I can't imagine the amount of pressure it must feel for a writer that, anytime you take over a book where characters have existed for decades and you have to feel a little bit of pressure of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to piss somebody off if I do something that, according to them, doesn't really fit the character. And I feel like that happens a lot to writers sometimes. And then sometimes they're like, you know what, screw it. But like some of the best work that was coming out of Marvel Comics were also by writers that didn't really care about the past history stuff. Like in the early aughts, that people absolutely love Inhumans by Paul Jenkins. And I remember interviewing Paul Jenkins and he was like, I've never read an Inhumans comic in my life. And that's why I got the job. Because that's what they wanted. They wanted a fresh start. And I think about that too. Like during that era, they were trying out different things where they were getting new writers to come in and just kind of do their own thing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you say Paul Jenkins?
I did.
Okay, I just didn't hear the name, and I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same. So, Inhumans, that's the first Inhumans thing I ever read, was that incredible Paul Jenkins J. Lee book. Incredible. I fucking love it. You read it and you go, why are the Inhumans not the most popular fucking thing on the world? Like, they're so great. Like, the Terrigenesis, the transformation. What's that?
Oh, I was. Where's my buddy Gio, who absolutely loves the Inhumans?
It's so good. I don't know. Listen, Jay Lee's art. I mean, my God.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so good. But like the way that the Terrigenesis, whatever it's called, is synced to like coming of age for kids. Like it writes itself. I mean, that's rude to Paul, who did an incredible fucking job. But like, I think that Inhumans volume is an incredible example of where. Of making something someone's first comic and making them a fan so hardcore. But I'll tell you, they've sort of dropped the ball because I've read some Inhumans things here and there. I mean, certainly Saladin's Black Bolt was like incredible. Like there have been
another one.
There have been standouts over the years, but mostly it does feel a little lost. And you're like, why are the Inhumans not the X-Men? And it's, to me, because they couldn't like capitalize on something like that Paul Jenkins book. I would also say, X-Men had a lot of advantages of like maybe that Paul Jenkins book doesn't hit at the right time for the world for it to like catch on. You never know with these things. But yeah, I mean that book is incredible. You read that and you're like, these should be my favorite characters, and then you're like, wait, where are they? They're nowhere. Oh, okay. So it's weird. It's a weird thing. That happens a lot in comics. I was going to sort of call out like a thing from Rogue and Gambit that I don't like. And I'm going to call it out in part because I don't really know. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who drew it. It's not a criticism of them. It's just like, I didn't really like this time of Rogue and Gambit. And part of it was, for me, it didn't feel like the characters that I knew and loved. And it's with that whole Mystique trying to trick Gambit into
Peter Milligan.
Oh yeah,
fucking
Peter
her
Milligan,
as
Salvador
Yeah.
LaRocca, yeah.
Yeah, fucking way to drag the creators' names out, guys. I just said I didn't know who they were.
I talk about that book all the time. I hate that book for a reason. But I love Peter Milligan's Ecstatics. So
it doesn't mean Peter Milligan and Salvador aren't great creators. It just means that for me does not track.
Wait a minute, you said you don't remember, and you just threw out the artist name. I said Peter Milligan. You said Salvador.
Dom said Salvador.
I said yeah.
Oh, okay,
But
okay,
now
go
that
blame
you
us.
said it, I do remember that that's what it is.
Yeah.
I certainly remember it's Salvador's work because I really like his work, and I didn't like seeing it turned on my beautiful characters who were behaving in ways I sort of didn't recognize. Like even Mystique, I rate Mystique as better than behaving that way. Like certainly to Rogue, the only person she really cares about in a lot of stories. Like I don't buy the I'm doing it for your own good. I mean, what? It's like the worst mother ever. And she's pretty bad. She's pretty bad. But
she's a bad mom to begin.
She's a bad mom. We're accepting she's a bad mom. But if she's a good mom for anyone, it's for Rogue, and that is beyond bad behavior. It's appalling. And the good news is.
I'm gonna get an email from Salvador LaRocca. I ain't never gonna be able to interview Peter Milligan. Peter, if you're watching, I love your Ecstatic.
We love you guys.
Ecstatic is amazing.
Say the changing man, changed the way I look at comics. I don't know what Kelly's talking about.
Yeah. Listen, maybe we just shifted to blame Marvel. I mean, what are they thinking that like a young mutant should be trying to seduce Gambit, but it's really Mystique? And I mean, I just don't like it, man. So yeah, I went in thinking, let's ruin that. Let's take a sledgehammer to that. I don't want that to be part of their life. And then like you'd go on a forum and you'd see some people love that story. Some people, that was when they fell in love with the characters. Now I can't really relate to that, but who am I to say what's right and wrong? I'm not anybody to say. And so that's sort of how we got here.
When you say that's when somebody's fell in love with the characters, like 5 years from now, you're going to be hearing that a lot. And probably not even 5 years from now, you're going to be hearing that a lot about your Absolute Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. I've seen some things said about Absolute Wonder Woman already that have just almost shamed me in how like incredibly kind they are about the impact it's having. So, I mean, I hope you're right, because it would be an incredible thing to be a force for something good that could bring that many people to something they love and that means something to them. I would be really happy about that. I think it's really hard to make your mark in this industry, especially these days where, it's hard to get more than if you don't hit with your 5-issue trade, you're not getting more issues, so it's really hard. And so to have done that with Wonder Woman, it feels incredible. But again, I couldn't have done it without this team. And we haven't said Jordy's name at all, but like Jordy Belair coloring Wonder Woman is incredible.
And Becca Carey on lettering, like you guys are doing awesome stuff,
Becca Carey is so good. So she was doing my Black Cloak book, so I knew how good she was. And I think I said this before, but a first issue is so many little choices. It's a lettering nightmare. Like it gets much easier after that first issue, but first issue, you're deciding on all your fonts and all your caption boxes and how do we handle locator captions and all these things that will define the book and the visual identity of the book. You're making all those decisions in that first one. And we had a lot for Wonder Woman because we were really being careful about the visual identity. And I've never seen a first issue that had that much like world building and decisions in it be as clean as Becca's first issue of Absolute Wonder Woman. It was just really smart. She had the best stuff. And I will also say that when we were doing in issue 6, when Pegasus is reborn, I was like, I don't like this font. What's going on with this? Something doesn't look quite right. And I was like, I mean, it just needs to feel more metal, I guess, or something. It's not right. And so it's like this off-panel Prometheus dialogue. But it's this hardcore Pegasus image where this metal skull bone Pegasus is coming out of molten lava. Like, it's incredible. And she sent it back with just the Pegasus in this basically metal font that's very Wonder Woman. And just the whole page started singing. And it's like, it was a great reminder to me of it takes a village to make a great comic. And if even one element is hitting wrong, it's, you know, it's not going to work the way you want. So you've got to have everyone playing at the top of their game. And we've been very lucky to have that from everyone at all times. It's been awesome.
And forgive me for the maybe slight ignorance, but on it's Jeff book, obviously it's you and Gurhiro who tag team and do the book together, and I always see Tim Smith 3's credits in production. When you guys do I remember the issue or the story where Jeff steals all of the costumes and the weapons from the Avengers, but there's still SFX bubbles and where's my shield? Who does that, if I may ask?
Well, so on It's Jeff, it is a little more complicated. I think it's what you said, but because it's Jeff, Gurihiro does a lot of it. It's more Gurihiro doing all the art, as far as I know. There might be exceptions, and then the production team filling in little. So it's less that we have a clear letterer on that book because there's not dialogue. Right. And often when there is anything, even when it's Kate shouting Jeffrey or something, sometimes Gurihiro will just draw it in because I think they know, and we all know, and I first experienced this really with Leo Romero, that if you can get an artist who wants to draw in the sound effects, and this is no disrespect to letterers, I'm sure they would agree, it can often look more organic and natural if they're just drawn in rather than laid on top. So if you have an artist who likes to do that, it's great. Fun fact, my least favorite part of writing comics is writing sound effects. Hate it. I'm terrible at it. I haven't gotten any better at it, and I don't know why. But one thing happened because I would often leave them out. I'd be like, I don't know what this sound effect should be. So I'd be like SFX TBD. But guess how you don't get your artist to draw your sound effect? If you put SFX TBD. So when I saw that Leo was interested and engaged in drawing them when he felt it fit, I realized I had to put them in. And so it got me better at doing it. I almost never leave them TBD now, unless I think there's some question mark in the art where maybe they're going to do something different here. So let's leave it open or something like that. But I do like King. I think that's Chuck. Chuck's right. I like King. It feels like a guttural, a thing from deep in your bowels, the sound you make. I do like it.
Where do you come up with that? Is there a big?
She's got a book of onomatopoeias, Omar.
Yeah.
I wish. I mean, no, I wish. Writing sound effects would be easy if I had that resource. I mean, I have done searches for sound effects, and I will often save a page of sound effects that letterers have done or something, just to have a reference, a quick reference to go back to. So that's a cheat you can use sometimes. But a lot of times you want something. I am Chuck. Hi, Chuck. It's the good thing about having an icon across all platforms, right? It's recognizable. So yeah, I think that I don't know why I'm not good at it though. It bothers me.
There's I know Roy Thomas took the approach when he was doing Conan the Barbarian, no sound effects. We're going to make it sound real. This is a real battle. Then part of me is is that because you didn't want to think about the sound effect? You get tired and bored of swords clashing. But it worked though. I was you don't even notice. Then there's Daniel Warren Johnson, who just makes up amazing words, or just throws things like badass, heavy metal, awesome as part of the sound effect when somebody's punching or drop kicking someone.
Yeah,
that is fun. I like that stuff.
Let me say I agree with you, and I think an exception to the sound effects rule for me is in more comedic books where that vibe is for example, I'm not having any trouble writing the sound effects in the current Jeff book. Because it's got that tone where, let's talk about the most famous sound effect I've ever written, yeet from issue 1 of Absolute Wonder Woman, which people mostly loved. I saw a few people hating it, but mostly people were like, oh my God, that's hilarious. And we talked about it. I wrote it in because I thought it was funny, and I was like, I don't know if this will make it to the final. And then there was a whole email discussion of the whole team where we're like, where are we on yeet? Does it yank you out of it too much? Is it funny? Do we like it? And we ended up keeping it, and I think it was the right move. But that, I think that's a great contrast because I wouldn't for a second consider a yeet or a yoink being out of place in a Jeff book, but you got to be more careful in an Absolute Wonder Woman book, because that might yank your tone in the wrong direction. And I think James made a great comment here, which is go back and watch Batman 66 for sound effects. And
that's right.
he's right, but let's acknowledge that is a very specific tone. And so you shouldn't just be porting, you know, bam, whiff, pow, biff into just anything, you know? So it's all about tone. It's all about managing all the pieces so that they're all pointing in the same direction and telling you the same thing, right? So there's like a cohesiveness of vision.
For anybody that has just gotten here, I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. The Captain Marvel Omni Volume 2. We are having a giveaway, which we'll be doing actually a drawing here soon. If you live in the US, it's Jeff USA, hashtag Jeff USA. If you live in Canada, hashtag Jeff CAD. And if you live in the EU, hashtag Jeff EU.
Canada numbers up, folks.
So, yeah, it looks like the Captain Marvel by Kelly Thompson Omni Volume 2 has moved in schedule. I know people have been asking about it, and I did get an answer back, and it might move again, so I didn't really
sorry.
Was that Kelly's natural reaction?
I should have censored myself.
Oh, what does that sound effect look like?
I mean, it should just be another hum.
I think they have it in June right now of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So it might move again, is what I was told, but I don't know yet. So
I'm sorry. What day did you say? Now?
June of 2026 is what they've got it right now, but it's not in the catalog yet. It's not anywhere yet.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're trying to move things around again. The other one that was people kept asking me about is the Guardians of the Galaxy by Brian Michael Bendis too. That one also got moved around.
That's funny. I was just reading a bit of that the other day. This all comes around.
Right? Is there someone from the Olympus Pantheon that you're most excited about bringing into Absolute Wonder Woman? What's your question?
Well, I'm really excited about a few. I think the next goddesses you'll see, like literally visually, are probably... I would keep your eye out for Artemis and maybe Aphrodite. I'm still working a little bit the same way that Medusa in 5 became a thing in how I changed it toward the end. This same arc, I have a couple options for how we should end, and so I'm still sort of playing with them a little bit. For this one we're working on now. I would also say expect to see Athena in the future. That's a little more distant, but like fall or winter maybe for that. So you will see more of Hades. I'm very happy with those 2 issues and how they came out, but occasionally I see people saying, oh, so he's just a full-on bad guy, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that was found in evidence. Like, I mean, he's the Lord of the Underworld, so you know he's not a fluffy bunny. But I think there's more layers here that you know people should expect to see over time. He's definitely not like a Zeus kind of a negative evil, like not evil, but you know Zeus definitely stands out as the character that sort of put his boot on the neck of Wonder Woman literally as a baby. So you know he's pretty dark, that guy, and that Hades is not in that sort of way. So hopefully we'll see more Hades as well, in hopefully a way people don't expect. We'll see.
The last 2 issues of Absolute Wonder Woman introduced me to the cult. Hey, look at that, Kelly.
It's good.
Will there be a cult too?
Well, if more people like you discover it because of Absolute Wonder Woman, it becomes more possible every day. How about that? Mattia and I would love to do more. We love it. I mean, we're heartbroken that we're not drawing it right now, you know. We have tons of ideas for it. I also think the cult turned out to be a great fit, even for an artist like Mattia, who's got a slower speed, because it can grow universally because you're dealing with a lot of different worlds. They don't all have to look like Mattia's style, right? So like this world and the world these main characters are in can look this way, but if they separate and go to different places, do all those places have to look the same as the way Mattia's art looks. It's a perfect example to merge different art styles into one narrative, which is great for us and gives us flexibility. But I just think, the money just wasn't there to commit to another year, unfortunately. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but I think you guys know the longer, I agree. the longer it goes, the harder it does get to bring it back but that doesn't mean it can't happen. I mean, it's just like with Jeff, like, not that Jeff hasn't had his little book he's been doing. He's been having it all this time, but him popping on a much wider scale via Marvel Rivals means he's not only showing up in as cameos and little supporting roles and all sorts of things, but he got his first print miniseries. So, things can happen at any time. The Cole could get optioned, and then suddenly we're greenlit and we have the money to do more. Like, anything could happen, but it would be, I don't know what the word is. It would be disingenuous, maybe, to pretend that the distance isn't making it a bit harder without a Hail Mary,
I waited 13 years for Mage 2.
There you go.
And then I think another 13 years for Mage 3 to wrap up. So, comic book fans can wait. There's so much manga I've waited on I think it's almost been 2 decades since Clamp put X on hiatus. So
that would get us there, probably.
So you're saying there's a chance. That's what everybody heard. Yeah.
There is a chance.
The hashtags are, if you're now entering the chat, it's for the giveaway. There's 3 winners for each of the hashtags. There's hashtag Jeff USA if you live in the USA, hashtag Jeff CAD if you live in Canada, and hashtag Jeff EU if you live in the EU. Come from our wonderful sponsors, cheapgraphicnovels.com, waltzcomicshop.com, and bdcosmos.com. They'll be sending out copies of It's Jeff. But BD Cosmos is actually doing something even different. They're doing a cult hashtag. And if we don't get all of them by the end of the stream, we will save one of the Canadian ones if you're watching a little bit later. No love for Australia. It's not that we don't love it. We just have a sponsor over there.
We need sponsors.
So that's all. That's it. Kelly, you're not that busy. So what's what else is on the what else are you working on?
So yeah, we're doing this Absolute Wonder Woman thing. I'm doing the new Jeff book. That's a 5-issue miniseries. And then we've also got Birds of Prey is still going.
Okay.
I am working on another pitch for DC.
Oh.
But the big part is that the other thing I've been working on for a long time, and which is finally starting to come together. I don't know when it's going to be announced, but I would think soon. Is I'm writing something very big that is not announced yet, and I'm sorry I can't say what it is.
No, it's okay. Is it something like independent, or is it for like one of the big 2?
It's a license. It's like a license thing. So it's not a creator owned.
License like you did Scarlet for the Energon universe?
I'm just saying license, like it could be Big 2, it could be any of the other companies that, work with properties, yeah.
Like an RC and Alita 1 miniseries?
Listen, Omar. You're about to be in trouble if you keep guessing.
What?
Legal trouble, baby.
Do you ever feel like you does that I remember interviewing a few of the women creators, and some of them felt like they were being shoehorned into writing women characters when they wanted to write like for the male characters. And I've interviewed like Christopher Priest, and that was one of the big problems he had when he was writing comics in the 90s and even in the 80s. They wanted him to write just black characters. He was like, I don't want to write just Black Panther and Black Lightning. Do you ever feel like that happens? That's happened to you?
I mean, I think it definitely happens because there aren't enough female creators working in this industry. And
Mm-hmm.
the good news is we've had a real uptick from when I used to be I'm using air quotes around journalist, comics journalist. I wasn't a journalist, but whatever, close enough. Sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't even, sorry, something's happening. Hold on.
It's okay.
Hold on.
Take your time. Kelly Thompson on Transformers.
All right. All right.
She said big. That's where my brain went.
What was I talking about? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I've completely lost.
What
were we talking about?
Females and
right. Yes. So there are plenty of times when it definitely, there are plenty of times when it said, sorry, someone came in here and it completely threw me off. I'm clearly not multitasking.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I think there are not enough female creators, and there are a lot of female books. I mean, still not enough for my liking, but yeah, and people want to see women getting the chance to write women, and so I think there's a natural thing that happens. But I also think it's a thing that creators feel anxious about, and they don't want to be pigeonholed into writing only one thing. And also, and I suspect Priest feels this way, though I've never talked to him directly about it. It makes you a little pissed that, well, I don't want to have to write this character just because you guys don't have enough of me's around, enough of my diverse group you don't have around, so I have to always write this thing. It doesn't feel quite right. I think and I'm sure I have been pigeonholed. I've only really written, I mean, Jeff, I guess, gets to count now, but the only real marquee non-female book I've written was Deadpool. And we only got to do that for 10 issues because we got, kneecapped by the pandemic.
Cool, yeah.
So I think I don't like the pigeonholing, but I'll be honest with you, I just like women, man. I like writing about women. I'm interested in them. I think their stories are often underexplored. I also think you can find a lot of really great undiscovered, unexplored areas and veins to tap because those characters tend to be less explored. I mean, it was a lesson I learned early on in A-Force when I was writing that for Marvel. That was my first big book for them, solo book, and I had this great idea. I still think it's a great idea for this story I wanted to tell for She-Hulk. I still think it's a great She-Hulk story, but they were like, She-Hulk has a solo book, because Sewell had his book at the time that was happening. And they're like, that's the kind of plot that will happen in Sewell's book, not this ensemble book. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was like my hand had been slapped a little bit. I mean, I don't mean they meant it in like a rude way, but like, I felt like, but what I found was nobody cared what I did with Dazzler and Nico. So I could build really interesting plots for them because they weren't marquee females who already had their own books. So, I couldn't build like really juicy subplots for Captain Marvel and She-Hulk in that book because they were busy in other books. But Nico and Dazzler, nobody cared. And so it was a good way to see, if people are less engaged in this, if they've had less stories, if there are more opportunities there is a place to shine there if you can drag that stuff out. So I think that was helpful to me. I don't want to be pigeonholed. I want people to think I can do anything. But like, if you'd asked me what G.I. Joe book I wanted to write, my first answer would have been Scarlet, and my second answer would have been Snake Eyes. So, I can't really fault anyone for being like, hey, she wrote a redheaded spy that people loved and it won an Eisner. Maybe she could write our, redhead, and it worked. I had a great time. I like those characters. I like those narratives. I'm interested in their stories. And I think female characters do benefit from me being a woman a little bit, because I think most guys treat their women characters well, but I'm sure there's just like a slightly different way of thinking about it. I never think of any of my male characters as being lesser, but Medusa has red hair.
Medusa.
A lot of redheads in comics. We got a lot of redheads to get through. But but I never think of my male characters as less than. I fall in love with all my characters, but I suppose there have been a lot of really bad stories for women in comics over the years. Like, you know, some of that I'm sure is helped by a lot of women coming in and writing those characters. Probably the same for Priest. I'm sure he has better insights a lot of the time that I would never have. It's a tricky mix. No writer wants to be kept from writing things like the whole purpose of our lives is to make shit up. So you don't want to be told that these are these impenetrable boundaries you can't go beyond. But by the same token, I think it's hard to deny that people who have direct lived experiences probably have more insight into some of those things. So it's a balance. I think the biggest thing I advocate for is the more diverse you can make the rooms, the more it takes care of itself naturally. It's the same way that, you know, if you've got mostly white characters on your team, you maybe don't want the villain to be a black guy. But if you have a naturally diverse team, then it doesn't matter who the villain is, you know? It's the same way with LGBT representation. It's like you don't always want to see those characters being the villains right away, because that looks like you're saying all these characters are this go in this basket and they're bad guys. But once you have like diverse representation of those voices, you can be more flexible.
That's an interesting approach. I wonder if a lot of writers and editors think about that, like when stories are being pitched.
Yeah.
Thunder lightning out here. Woo. James told me to come troll y'all about Inhumans, so I'm here to say Kelly would be fantastic on an Inhumans title. That's my buddy Riley, the Omnibus collector. Plenty of female Inhumans to write about, like a certain redhead, like Medusa.
I loved writing Medusa when I got to in A-Force. She was honestly the character I wanted to get off the book, not because I didn't like her, but just I didn't know her. I was like, I don't really like Dazzler at the time. I'm now a big fan. I was like, maybe I can get rid of Dazzler and Medusa and like rebalance this a little bit. And they turned out to be two of my favorite characters that I wrote. And part of it was because there was flexibility there. I could do interesting things with Dazzler, and with Medusa, I don't know. I think my voice for her is probably a little off from what the generally accepted voice for Medusa is. And that comes a little bit from my idea was that this is what she gets to do when she doesn't have to act like a queen and like be all keeping it together and being a certain way. Now she's on this team with these women, and she's really mad because She-Hulk thinks she's the leader and Medusa thinks she's the leader, and they got like this almost like this teenage grudge match over it. And it became very fun to write this sort of like bitchy, I don't care Medusa. She ended up being one of my favorites, especially when Ben Caldwell came out and he was drawing her all curvy. I was like, how is this not the Medusa? She's so great, like this hair and these curves and this everything. It was so fun. That book was a real joy.
Now they're naming all the redheads.
Starfire's next.
Oh, Danielle Moonstar, you know. She is a Valkyrie and has a horse.
She's a horse and bow and arrow.
That's your thing.
Right in my wheelhouses.
When writing a character like Wonder Woman, what do you try? You're doing your own thing, but do you have like a favorite run of Wonder Woman that you absolutely love?
Yeah, I think Historia is for me the best it's ever been. I think that's the landmark work that just deserves everything. It's so great. It's fantastic. I think, funnily enough, I've always really liked the Greg Rucka stuff. He's one of my favorite writers. But when I reread the Greg Rucka stuff, after reading the Gail Simone stuff, I clicked into it in a different way, because it was actually Gail's run that made me really fall in love with Diana. I'd always liked her. I'd always respected her. I'd always thought she was interesting, but I just didn't have the love for her that I sort of had for Batman or even Superman in a way. I'm much less a fan of Superman comics, but like Clark himself, you just love him. You just care about him, as a fan. And I had never really had that with Wonder Woman until Gail. And there was something about the way she wrote her, which was like, there's a little bit of a humor to it and a lightness to it that I hadn't really seen before, that really and the magic of it was, not only did I, once I fell in love with Diana, once I went back and reread stories that I had read when I just liked her, man, they just clicked differently for me. So with a hat tip to Gail for getting me there on reread, I think probably Eyes of the Gorgon and the one that's right either before or after that, that's all the Medusa stuff with Diana. That's some of my favorite stuff Greg did, and probably one of my favorite Wonder Woman stories.
To Greg Rucka, yeah.
Greg Rucka, Gail.
It's probably because it's hard for Gail to write women as well as it is for Greg. I'm just kidding. But Rucka really writes a lot of female protagonists, though.
Yeah,
like,
this is why I don't ever want to be someone who's like, oh, men shouldn't write women and women should write. It's so limiting. Why would we do that? Oh my God, my cat has decided he's interested in your screen.
You got one pull on the left. I mean,
stop attacking it. Stop.
Do you have a Jeff the Land Shark little plushie that your cat can go at?
No, those are so expensive. I have them up on a high shelf. Those are not cat toys, especially when they're in such limited supply.
Those are collectibles, cat. I think Superman's very hard to get right. The ones that work for me are All-Star Superman, which is about his heart and humanity, not just how hard he punches.
I think that's very true. I think a lot of my disconnect with Superman is just not having read it as much of the comics. I think Superman has a problem for me as a fan where I'm already a diehard Batman fan and I'm already reading, because I love detectives and all that stuff. Yes. And like Gotham is such a great character in and of itself. And it's got so many great side characters and villains and stuff. And so then that's already taking up a lot of your time as a reader and as a fan. And then if I'm going to read another of the Trinity, I'm going to go to Wonder Woman just because she's a woman and I like women's stories. And so that often left Superman just sort of odd man out. I just didn't have time for him. But I'm not immune to his charms. Like, I love Clark. Like, even without reading him, I think that's probably one of the most powerful things about him is that you can even not really be a Superman reader and you're still like Superman's the best, man. He's great. Yeah. Like he transcends the medium a little bit, maybe.
The Paragon character that we should all look up to, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice that.
You have to ask her.
Not after the Milligan fiasco. We're not doing this.
No, I love Batman Year 2. Apparently, I'm one of the few people that do. Everybody loves Long Halloween more, but I get it. Yeah,
he gets it. Kelly, I have to ask while you're on here because right now you're doing a who would win amongst the X-Men on your Substack, which just has been so fun to follow and see people like argue over and whatnot. Who would win in a fight, in your opinion? Absolute Wonder Woman, your version of Wonder Woman, or Big Barda? Who would win in a fight?
It's Absolute Wonder Woman, but it's painful to say it. I mean, I just think the magic is such a game changer. I think, I also think that while Barda's life was probably much worse, I don't know what Absolute Barda's life looks like, oh my God, but while Barda's life is also like growing up in hell, I think because she didn't have a Circe, it's a much worse, different hell than what Diana grew up in. And while that might make her angrier in a way and more powerful in that respect, I just think Diana even has like divine intervention here. I mean, we saw it in the other, like calling on the gods to like supercharge her for a minute, even just for a speech, right? Like that's a game changer. You add that to magic and everything else she's got going on. I think if you get, I mean, regular Wonder Woman I had beat Barda in Birds of Prey. So, I loved doing that though. And I loved showing Barda's, my favorite bit of that whole thing probably is Barda's resistant to the lasso. Her resistance to the lasso. Not that she can totally resist it, but that she can put up a better fight than most because of the Mega Rod. And, you know, the idea of the Mega Rod is that it broadcasts propaganda into your mind at all times when you're holding it. So like your mind has to be strong against that. And that would make you pretty good at resisting the lasso, I think, but you still succumb. But so I love that beat in the Birds of Prey. It's really fun.
But one of the fun parts about some of those issues too is the way that you wrote Ollie into the first part of your run, which I thought was also like another interesting bit that you added with I don't know. I really like your Ollie, and it kills me to see, like, I don't know, I'd like him to sometimes show up more, because I do think he brings some levity in the book.
I would agree with that levity that we're missing since we lost Harley too.
And Dom, do you want to go ahead and run the contest?
Yes, we have more than enough entries now for the US, for Canada, and also for the EU. So we'd like.
Yeah, how's this gonna work? How's this gonna work? You got it all figured out, right?
I do. I got the screen share on the. Okay, where is? I cannot see it because of the light. I have on this specific part of the screen. I got people doing the weird giveaway thingamabob. So I will pull up one, I think, for each. How do I do this, actually? We're going to do one each. So we're going to do one USA, then one Canadian, and then one EU. And then on the second go around, we'll do it again. If that makes sense to you, Omar. I don't know if I explained that.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Does it make sense to Kelly?
Sure.
Okay, Kelly's in. Let's do it. These are all Kelly Thompson books, by the way.
So yes, so that's once again. Go ahead, sorry.
But you're watching the interview, so I assume you wouldn't know that. We're not giving away Chris Claremont books. We're giving away Kelly Thompson books. Just letting people know. Okay.
Just a heads up. But hey, who knows? All right. So for
good luck, everybody.
Good luck to everybody here. We got the first up. We got the USA people.
For a copy of It's Jeff. By the way, they are completely sold out, so he has to reorder some. They'll be back in for a couple of weeks because their sales just went up yesterday.
Yesterday, which was Monday.
Yeah, so he's out of stock on it. So
everybody wants a copy of the cute little land shark. What can I say? All right, let's do the first one up. Who will?
Good luck, everyone in America. Dom, our near mint condition thing was in there. Please do not let us win, or no one will ever watch my show again. There we go, Eric. Congratulations, Eric. Shoot me an email at nearmintcon@gmail.com and I'll get your information over to Max at Cheap Graphic Novels. And that is nearmintcon@gmail.com. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for joining the giveaway. All right. Let's spin the wheel for this is the copy of It's Jeff for the people over in Canada. So
congratulations, Eric.
Go, Eric.
That came from Kelly Thompson, who also wrote the book. Canada. Triple Ho. What's up? Congratulations, dude. He came in at the last second, too.
Came in last second. Thank you. Thank you for joining all the way up.
And just email me your information. Really, all I need is your email, and I'll get a hold of these fine folks.
Congratulations. I also really like your icon.
It's a really cool icon.
It's really dapper. Really dapper. This is your second time winning on the channel? That's awesome. I'm glad I don't have to ship anything out this time around. Oh my gosh.
All right, to our folks over in the European Union, we got 13 entries here. Thank you for joining. So another copy of it.
To be asleep. Loved our Hawkeye and West Coast Avengers, but also Jeff is his lovable.
It is, isn't it? All right, EU people, let's go ahead and start the ball rolling. Who will win a copy of It's Jeff?
Martin.
Okay.
I think Martin actually won something from the channel in the past too.
There you go.
Philip loves the Kelly Thompson interviews. He is a wonderful person to talk to. I don't know how she is still with us after almost 2 hours.
Congratulations,
Martin. And for somebody that wasn't even feeling that good, you can't even see it.
Well, we did start with 10 minutes of depression talk, so World of Depression talk. So maybe that was that.
Maybe that's how I need to start all my interviews.
Start at the lowest, you go to the high.
Purge the bad, get it out through the system.
Yeah,
and then get to the stuff we all love. All right, next round. Sea Chicken. See, that's I'm telling you. Chapter 60 of It's Jeff. All right, next winner for another copy of It's Jeff here in the United States. So once again, let's go ahead and draw for the people who are in the United States who will be lucky to win a copy of the graphic novel of It's Jeff.
Just type in hashtag Jeff USA, Alex. You can still try to win the last batch.
You still got one.
This is Ben Crow. One.
Congratulations, Ben.
Woo!
Congratulations, Ben.
Yay me.
So
yes, if you live in the US, you still have a chance. It's hashtag Jeff USA.
Keep rolling the stuff in. For the
email me if you're a winner, though, please.
Please email. Got it.
And there's the rules. All right, so let's do another Canada.
This is for this is for a copy of the Cole trade paperback.
Oh yeah, the Cole. That's right.
Fancy.
Indeed. So we can draw again. Who will win a copy of the Cole trade paperback? Dangerous
Trash.
Congratulations, Trash.
Oh my goodness. All right, so there is the second of the sorts. Let's go ahead and draw the second of the sorts for the people over in the EU again. Who will win another copy of the cute, adorable little land shark?
Yes. Who is it this time? Joel.
Congratulations, Joel.
Congratulations, Joel.
Is that a Brett Booth, Wally West? I believe that is.
Wow, you've got some good eyesight.
No kidding.
I
can tell Dom is younger than both of us.
Oh my god!
I thought it was Spider-Man or Iron Man. Okay, good eyes.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take a compliment. From both
Congratulations, Joel. Now we got one more. It's Jeff.
One more Jeffy boy
for America, and that's hashtag US Jeff USA.
Indeed.
Kelly, I see you're not entering.
I mean, with how slow my comps are, I probably should, but
all right, let's go ahead and draw with the board.
Let's do it.
Who will get the last copy?
Who's the last one? Who's the last one? Who's the last person that's gonna get it? It is
Emmanuel.
It was his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
It's Jeff and
congratulations, Emmanuel.
Congratulations,
dude. Email me at nearmintcon@gmail.com and I'll get your information over to the right place. All right.
It's no whammies. No whammies, big book. No whammies. That's good.
No whammies indeed. All right. This is for a copy of Birds of Prey, Volume 1, Megadeth by Kelly Thompson and Leo Romero. And I cannot. Is it Ars Dane? Is that how you say their name, Kelly?
I think that's right, but I'm not positive.
Okay, well,
I thought you were asking me, and I'm like, I butcher everybody's names.
Yeah, it's so hard. As a comic book creator, you only ever talk to anyone over email. So
right.
Then you go on a podcast, and you're like, oh, I have to say this name for the first time.
That's gonna be tough. How do you find your prize? Email me. There it is, nearmintcon@gmail.com. I'll get your information over. Where was Dangerous Trash? Oh, he was Canada. Okay, yeah. Just email me and I'll get your information over.
We'll get a nice copy. Cole is one of my favorite books. I think you will enjoy that stuff.
So this is for Birds of Prey?
This is for Birds of Prey, Volume 1, Megadeth. All right. Who will win the copy of Birds of Prey, Volume Numero Uno? Shall we see?
Colin! Congratulations, Colin.
Congratulations, Colin. Enjoy
Email me, nearmintcon@gmail.com, please, and I will make sure the appropriate party gets your information.
Indeed.
All right.
Last but not least, we got the people over in the European Union once again for the last copy of It's Jeff graphic novel trade paperback we are giving out today.
From Walt's Comic Shop.
What? Your reliable source for... There we go, Carson K!
Congratulations, Carson.
So all you fine folks email me. I'll expect 9 emails coming in. And yeah, we'll make sure you all get a copy of whatever it was that you won. Most of these it's Jeff, but I think 2 from Canada got a couple of other things. So that's awesome.
Thanks for doing that, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. This was so much fun. We got to talk about Rogue and Gambit today. I mean, like, come on, how much better can it be?
Yeah.
Max Appleman, I didn't win. I can't believe I left my family for this. You got some pretty good commenters in here, guys.
Yeah, they're a little out there. Congrats to the winners and to all of us for getting to hang out with an amazing Kelly Thompson. Thanks, Omar and Dom, for a great stream. Thank you all. Seriously.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, Kelly's always a pleasure to talk to. Like,
I try.
And you reply back to people on Blue Sky? Is that right?
I'm off Twitter now. I try not to engage there.
Mm-hmm.
But Blue Sky, yeah, I'm pretty engaged there. I'm not on Insta much. It's so bad.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and then you got to write the stories, and
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm crazy busy. But I'm sure if I was better with my time, I'd do better. Hey, look at that! Thanks, James.
Thank you, James Abel. Thank you so much, Jack Ferry. Oh, viva Peru, carajo! Question for Ms. Thompson: when beginning to write, what do you focus on first, character or plot?
It always comes from character for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I'm not saying the plot isn't important. It's super important, but it's the part that's the hardest for me, and it works the best when I find it through the characters. So,
if you don't care about the characters, you don't care about the plot.
I feel like it's one of the reasons the Birds of Prey, I feel like that first arc is the strongest, because that mission felt really personal, and like, how we got there through Dinah and her connection to Sin. I don't know, it just felt really earned, and there was like emotional stuff I could pin to, emotional underpinnings that were great to use.
So there you go. Any last words of advice or wisdom, Kelly? We started off on a gloom and dreary kind of
we've reached the climax
introduction, and then we got ups. Yeah, you want to end it with a bang, or you want to go back to like
doom and gloom time?
Yeah.
I think so long as Absolute Wonder Woman and Jeff are out there, there's still hope. There we go.
Okay, I like that.
A little bit of both.
And that means we're gonna get Jeff the Land Shark for Mario Kart World when the DLC comes out. Is that what you're telling us?
Or even better.
I mean, I'll be shocked if he doesn't show up. I mean, I don't know what the plans are for like TV and film stuff, but I would be shocked if he doesn't show up eventually. I mean, he's already shown up in a non-speaking role in the Lego movie. He walked across the screen, So I think we're just gonna see.
What he did?
He did, yeah.
It's adorable. It's a giant round Lego. I mean, it was so cute. Anyway,
did you freak out? I would have freaked out.
It was incredible. It's like, I mean, he's on a Magic the Gathering card. Like, it's wild to where he's showing up. So,
man, that's you got to feel really good about yourself, Kelly. Good for you. Seriously, that's awesome.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been fun.
That's
to watch.
Awesome, and you deserve it. You're a hell of a writer and one heck of a lady.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah. And
maybe we should do this for 2 hours every day. It was great for my ego.
This was so much fun.
For your ego. Yeah, let's throw more creators under the bus, dog.
Listen, you did that. I said I didn't know the real thing. You did it.
You threw an X-Men story at me. Of course I knew who wrote it.
Or issue arcs. But no, we really want to thank you for joining us and giving us some levity, especially for today getting to hang out with us and the people in the chat. This was awesome, and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. I had a great time.
And thank you, chat, for watching. Thank you for everyone that entered a contest, and thank you to our sponsors for sending this stuff out to people so I don't have to ship them out. God bless you all. And thank you to Kelly for writing the stories. And follow her on Blue Sky and follow her work every month on Absolute Wonder Woman. And more Jeff coming soon.
Yes.
Soon.
Very excited for you guys to read. I should have said one of the reasons I didn't promote Tokikaro is because I've never said Toki's name aloud.
Well, now you have.
Well, did you hear me butcher it? She's the incredible artist. She's the incredible artist drawing the new Jeff series. Gurihiru is part of it. She's doing covers and stuff. But yeah, it's you guys are gonna love it. It's super fun. Super fun.
Awesome. Well, if you get a little bit of time, go start playing Marvel Rivals, Kelly, and
It's not gonna happen. I'd never write another comic.
You'll never write another comic.
No, I'm too weak, man. You know what's easier than writing? Almost everything else that's fun. So
yeah.
I love writing, but it's hard. So you gotta make yourself do it. So
I gotta go and edit a video, and I'm like, oh, that's right. This is a long video. I gotta edit. Yeah, I feel
Omar knows the pain.
Everyone, stay healthy and safe. Much love. We are out of here. And